Hi, Alexis. I thought what I'd do is make a little video and talk about a few of the issues with your essay, and then read over your essay, read over the comments, listen to this, and then if you want to talk some more, I'd be happy to set up a time for us to get together. We can do a Zoom chat if you've been doing those. Okay, so I wanted to start by looking at the assignment. So I sent you the link to the assignment. Um, a lot of people had a little bit of a problem understanding what the assignment was asking you to do. The point of the assignment is not to make an argument to take a side one way or the other. And you did the zoo one, so whether zoos should be abolished or not. But the point of the assignment really is to look at what are the reasons that people are fighting about the issue. So you need to identify the things that people are arguing about on the two sides of the issue. Um, you don't necessarily need to take a stand yourself, though for a lot of people they found that that was a good way to wrap it up in the conclusion. But for most of the essay, you want to stay fairly objective. So let's see. So these were you have the sources, so you needed to take two of these and find two more of your own. Um, let's see. Where does I? So you're looking at um, what are the arguments on each side of the issue, and you might want to at this point, I would step back and just go ahead and make this chart just to refresh your mind. Now I notice when I look at it as if most of your sources are on the anti-zoo side. You've got most of the sources are criticizing zoos. Now you want to be able to show the other side as well, so you may want to look for another source or two that has more of an argument in favor of zoos. So you want to think about why people are disagreeing. Are there facts they're disagreeing about? Are there some interpretations or values? I believe I did a post um, where I talked about this with a different issue. If you go back, let me see. More on essay 3. So here I talked a little bit more about the assignment with an example talking about gun control, I think. So you might want to look at this post as well. But let me get back to the assignment here. Okay, when you look at the pros and cons, the arguments for and against the zoos, you want to see how how they match up. So if one side says that zoos are uh, very helpful in conservation of species, okay, that would be an argument in favor of zoos. What do the people opposing zoos say to that point? So then what you want to be able to do is to get a thesis statement. Your thesis statement for this paper should sum up the most important sources of disagreement. So it should be something like in the debate about whether zoos should be abolished, the two sides disagree about the value of conservation, the whatever you want to identify several of the issues that they disagree about. Then what that's going to do is set up some paragraphs. So what you'll do is you'll have a structure where each paragraph, and I talk about this here in this plan your structure. Each paragraph um, will set out a particular issue and then talk about what the two sides say about it. Now, you might want to look at some of the essays that some of the other students did. I'm trying to think. Holden and who else was it? Holden did a really nice job on this essay, and I can't remember who else. I'll see if I'll look later and send you those names. But um, let me look at his really quickly. And you can see he's got a thesis here. The most imperative, that's not quite the right word, but the most important topics of controversy among, between, the wording is a little bit awkward, but um, he means something like the most important issues that the two sides disagree about are the importance of the nutritional value of organic versus non organic food, health problems, and the effect on the environment. So he's laying out three different issues. And then when you look at the body of his essay, each paragraph talks about one of those issues. So we've got nutritional value, and what he's going to do in the paragraph is say that those in favor of organic foods say this about nutritional value, and he's going to get some details here. And then he's going to say those opposed to organic food, or that people that don't see the value in it, it's going to it's the second half of the paragraph talks about what they say. So it's got, each of the paragraphs announces the issue at the top in a topic sentence. It has some information about one side of the issue, and then it has some information about what the people on the other side of the issue say. So I think that's the first thing that you need to um, worry about is sort of identifying those issues. So if you look back at your essay, and if you go back to the rough draft of it, and look at my comments. So you've got a lot of reasons in there, but you don't really have it organized the way the assignment asks you to organize them, and you haven't really fleshed out. You mentioned several reasons and issues in one sentence. I marked the sentence in another version of your draft. So what you want to, so read over this again. What are the key points about which the two sides disagree? Or what are the key differences in the way the two sides argue, or the types of evidence they present? That's going to make up the thesis to your essay. And again, here, the key points of disagreement and the debate about whether zoos should be abolished are, 2, 3, 4 key points. Then the body paragraphs are going to reflect that. So that's one thing, that you need that structure. Then you also need some more information from your sources. You use some information from the sources, but I think you need some more information. You need some more information, especially on the positive side, the argument in favor of zoos. And then you need to use in-text citations. So let me see. I have your essay here somewhere. I made a few notes on this. Let me get this. Okay, so you're really taking a side pretty early on against zoos, again, rather than analyzing the issue. But you do talk about some of the arguments in favor of zoos, and you say that you had liked zoos originally. So you want that stronger thesis statement here. The pros to the zoo, such as it's a huge attraction for families, it helps wildlife get a second chance at life, interactive exhibits educate visitors, lets people, this is education as well. So education is a big thing. So it benefits the visitors to the zoo. It also benefits the animals itself. So what you need to do is kind of slow down, divide up these into, give each its own paragraph, and then get some specific evidence from a source. Expert testimonies, some statistics, some information about the educational value of zoos, the conservational value of zoos. You don't need to make a to weigh in yourself. You just, in this essay is not primarily argumentative; it's analytical. So you're not necessarily taking a stand. You're picking apart the argument. When you start here, you see this is an example of information that clearly came from a source. I don't think you knew off the top of your head, nor do I, that elephants could lose 50 years of their life in a zoo. This 18,000 times, I guess, more space. Again, this information, 3,000 to 5,000 deaths, came from sources, so you need to acknowledge what source that is. With MLA format, you do that with parentheses and normally the last name of the author of the source, or if there isn't a personal author, you use a shortened version of the title. But that's something I think you can worry about down the line. I would say what you want to do first is um, get a little bit more information, develop a thesis, and then organize an essay that goes point by point. As you're using information from your sources, keep track of which information comes from which source. You can do that just by numbering your sources and putting a number next to the information as you're using it. Um, you can color code them. There are a variety of ways to do it, but you want to keep track of it. So you'll need to get back to look at your sources to find out where that information came from, and then again, you'll put the parentheses and then the author's last name. That doing the in-text citation is you can do that at the end. It won't take long. But rethinking the essay and reorganizing and getting some more information, I think, will take a little more time. Okay, so that's an overview of what you need to do. If you want to, whenever you want to chat about it, just shoot me an email and we can set up a time to meet. Or if you feel like you have a good handle on what you need to do, and again, I'd strongly encourage you to look at a couple of those essays by some other students. I'll double check and see which are the couple best ones from the students from last semester for you to look at. But if you feel like you have a pretty good idea of what you need to do and you want to get started revising, feel free to do that. And then if you get to a stopping point, or whenever you feel like you want a little bit of feedback from me, that might be after you maybe get a thesis statement in an organization, or it might be after you get a few paragraphs written. Just let me know, and we'll talk about it. Okay, hope to hear from you soon. I'll email you this along with this version of your essay, along with, again, the names of those two students. All right, stay safe. Talk to you soon.